Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Fatih Khalida binti Kamaruddin and I am from group 7. Today I'm going to present to you guys about speech analysis, and our title is Why You Should Talk to the Strangers by Kiosta. Okay, let's begin. For our first point is, how does the speaker gains attention and interest from the audience? Gaining attention and interest is important if you would like the audience to concentrate to what you've got to mention, and therefore the audience will decide fairly and quickly if they need to concentrate there too. How is she going to get attention from the audience? First, Kiosta relate the topics to the audience by saying there are things we say when we catch the eye of a stranger or a neighbor walking by. These phrases motivate listeners to listen to the conversation as they can relate to the situation. For the second point, which is begin with a quotation, she said, "Hello, how are you? It's beautiful day. How do you feel?" And proceed with asking the audience either this question is having a meaning or not. And she said, "This sound kind of meaningless, right?" Q claims it meaningless and has no semantic significance, but somehow they have a social meaning. And lastly, just stop, tell a story, tell her personal experience to the audience to gain attention from the audience. Okay, for our second point, does the speaker establish his or her credibility? The declaration of the credibility set out your credential as a public speaker. You should come up with reason to listening to someone on the subject. How do you have any specific knowledge or understanding the subject? How will the viewer know from you that anyone else will not be able to understand? Statement of credibility can refer to your thorough research on a subject, your lifelong interest in a topic, your personal experience with matter, or your ability to enhance your listeners. Kiosta gains her credibility by informing the audience that she has a personal experience, which is stated our first point, which is state her credentials. She tells her personal audience that she said that she gains a beautiful experience and unexpected pleasure by having a conversation with strangers, either saying hello or offering help, and listen to their stories. The experience will gain believers from the audience. Other than that, Kiosta also established her credibility by dress formally that suits the venue. Suitable attire shows that the crowd that you are taking the speech engagement seriously. And lastly, clear voice and eye contact. Kiosta also gained credibility by speaking with clear voice and good eye contact. In speeches, it is important trying to have a eye contact and clear voice. Okay, for our last point, does the speaker preview the body of speech? The importance of previewing the body of speech is essential to make sure the listeners can recognize the ideas that need to be addressed in the speech by briefly mentioning the key points of the speech in introduction, or by presenting the detailed content such as definition or history of the expression method for a concise overview are very important. Actually, Kiosta has previewed the body of the speech that she telling her experience why we should talk to the strangers that benefits her in another way. Even though this overview kind of vague, it gives the audience a little bit idea about the topic what she wanted to talk about. But Kiosta does a great job of telling the main point in general and make sure the speech is understandable. Okay, that's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
So, for the main reason why we should talk to strangers is most strangers aren't dangerous. Sometimes we just feel uneasy around them because we have no context to talk with them and they are not in our daily routine. Also, we do not know what their intentions are. So some people might feel like it is okay to talk with someone we never knew, or feels good to be friendly with others. This point of view from the stranger itself. Somehow when we talk with the stranger, we also created a little bond by the conversation. It might sound weird, but it is meaningful and wonderful for someone. Okay, for the main supporter, We could use our sense to talk with a stranger rather than use our fears that might lead us to trouble. There are two benefits of using our sense instead of our fears. The first one is set us free, and the second one the intimacy. For the first point, which is the set us free, is much easier when we use the interpretation rather than categories. For example, when we see a stranger, we just see them as a man, female, young, old, whether black, brown, or white, which means we don't think of these people as an individual where they have no ties and no relation with us. So they are unknown. Somehow, this stranger or this individual could use their strategy to survive, which is they need to find or meet one stranger to see them as a real human. So for the second benefits is intimacy. Intimacy can be described as a simple encounters that contribute to the feeling, which is sociologists call fleeting intimacy. Next, how is it possible we can communicate well with the stranger? There are two possible, which is the first one, a quick interaction, and the second one, it gets more interesting. A quick interaction where it has no consequences and it is easy to be honest with someone who we never going to see again. Okay, for this part, this is based on the honesty. When we get honest each other, when we being honest, we just show our inner self and lead us to the more interesting communication. We move to the next slide. Okay, next we move to the organization use. The first one is media, second one technology, and the last one is teaching. For the media plays such a big role, especially to manipulate perception of people. For example, let's take a look at this good headline. Sounds like strangers communicate better than spouse. From this headline, it is briefly talk about the stranger have a good reaction, either well communication, better than our spouses. Some researchers found that people often feel more comfortable being honest and open about their inner self with strangers. This is because they believe they only meet the stranger for once. Next, we move to the technology. Technology is the important thing in our daily life, and technology can be described as a platform where all the strangers can be connected. For example, Facebook. So we literally be a friend with a stranger, which is we never knew about them, but we decided to be in their friend list. Alright, for the teaching, this part is taken by parents and guardians, where as a parents or guardians, we should teach our children to talk with a stranger. By talking to the stranger, we are making a beautiful interruption into the expected narrative in our daily life. And there somehow it is making the unexpected connection. That's out from me. And we move to the next point.
Okay. Good day. My name is Ilavasi Navine and my metric number is 263,288. Okay, let's look on how does the speaker use the resources of the language. Alright, in language, the speaker used an appropriate, clear, and simple words to convey the message. The speaker did not use any bombastic words which might confuse the audience. So, for example, the speaker said that it's quick, it's easy, and it's a road to bias, and it means we are not thinking about people as individuals. So, from here, we as an audience, we get the point. We get what the speaker is trying to deliver. In information, the speaker gave information on the reactions, categories, and benefits of talking to strangers. So, for example, use perception instead of categories is much easier said than done. Categories are something our brains use. When it comes to people, it's sort of a shortcut for learning about them. The speaker also mentioned how we describe a person, be it a nationality, a height, or skin tone. In story, the, the speaker gave an example on what was the connection and bonds and survival strategy. So, the story on an American researcher who enters a town as a complete stranger when there was no bonds and connection. The survival strategy that the American researcher had to use was to get a stranger to see her as a real individual person. Okay, next is on what are the types of connectives used in the speech. Are the connective effectively used? Okay. There are four types of connectives: transition, internal previews, internal summaries, and signposts. So the type of connective that the speaker used was transition. Transition are used to indicate a movement from a completed thought to a new thought. So remember when we were kids, we were restricted from talking to a stranger because we might not know what was the intention was. But as soon as we grew up, we understand certain things about stranger. The speaker also mentioned that people feel more comfortable by being honest and open with the strangers than they do with their friends and family. That they often feel more understood by strangers. Isn't it right? We don't share our secrets with friends and family, or we don't even share all our secrets. We only share one or two of it. In interactions, the speaker mentioned about significance and closeness that we get from a stranger. Interactions can be significant and it brings a special form of closeness as much as we need from our friends and families. The speaker also gave some solution on how to start a conversation with a stranger by smiling and complimenting them. So for example, if you are passing somebody on the street or in the hallway here, smile. And also by giving a compliment. What kind of reasoning does the speaker rely the most throughout the speech? Explain. The kind of reasoning that the speaker relied the most throughout the speech was principle, conclusion, and evidence. So, for principle, strangers are dangerous. We can't trust them. So, the speaker said that we are raised to believe that strangers are dangerous by default, that we can't trust them and they might hurt us. So, in conclusion, the speaker said that they are dangerous. Not all strangers have bad intentions, that we are uneasy around them because we have no context. We don't know what their intentions are. So instead of using our perceptions and making choices, we rely on the category of stranger. So for evidence, the speaker mentioned on a story of how an old man might save the speaker's life. That she was standing next to an old man and the old man told her not to stand there. So the speaker felt good from being saved from a death trap of the storm brained by the old man, and she felt like a part of a community. The speaker also said that they had this little bond and the speaker felt like existence as a person had been noticed and she was worth saving. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi to all. My name is Nur Safia binti Muhammad Fadil. My ID number is 268080. So let's continue with number 10, which is what type of emotional appeal does the speaker use and are they effectively used? The speaker used pathos as type of method for the emotional appeal. As pathos is type of emotion method, the speaker is using the sense of delighting and exciting for the motion, as she mentioned in the speech, saying hello to the neighbor passing by and the stranger old man who saved her. She wants to prove that talking to a stranger can be very pleasant and interesting. As pathos is using emotion, so the audience can feel the connection with the speaker on an emotional level. So I think that the method is effectively used in the speech. Next, we move to number 11, which is what method are used to prepare the audience for the ending speech. The speaker is using dissolve ending that creates emotional appeal by gradually fading into dramatic final statement. As you can see, the example from the speech in the screen, the speaker used this kind of ending as she wants to evoke the emotional sentiments to the audience. And lastly, for the number 12, how does the speaker reinforce the central idea? The speaker using the referring to the introduction method. The speaker point back to the introduction by talking to stranger means that people trying to reconnect and build bridge between each other. She also asks questions to the audience that give them pause for thought as well as nailing the end. That's all from us. Thank you.